MiG-29 paper model. This one's ready to fly. Here's what you need to build one. Scissors, and you need glue. Other thing you're going to need, you want a flying model, you gotta have tape, and you need a couple of paper clips. Usually 2 is enough for most airplanes. And we're gonna tape these to the nose and make it fly. About like right up there, that's where the balance point should be. So we're gonna tape some paper clips into it. Now this thing here is a launch hook. This is optional. The launch hook means you can get a big rubber band like this, or a small rubber band, but a big one is better, and you can catapult the airplane a lot faster than you could physically throw one. You might also want an X-Acto knife. I like this kind because it comes out and can come back in and then it's safe. There's not a top to lose or anything. But if you need one, you have to have a cutting board like this to cut on. A cutting board like this is good to cut on. This is just one for cooking, and it takes a lot of abuse. A notebook. This cardboard works pretty good as a cutting board. This will cut through the paper onto whatever surface is underneath it, and so your nice dining room table should be protected by a cutting board if you want to use a knife. The MiG-29 has 3 pages. This is your fuselage and the nose bits. This is the engine trunks and the fins. And here's your wings and some underwing missiles. First thing you want is this piece here. Make sure you get all of these little things here. If you don't, it won't fold properly. Now, to fold this, we've got lines like this yellow line, which we fold down. And one way to fold a line down is to pinch it right here and pinch at the other end. And we can hold it down flat like this and just mash. And that will give us an accurate line right where we want it. Another way to fold it is to hold it here and hold it here. We pinch and we hold it tight as we pinch our way in. The folds that go up are the same way, but there is a trick that makes things a lot easier. And this is if you get a ballpoint pen and you draw right on that line. It's got to be a ballpoint pen. Felt tip pen, pencil won't work. You have to draw right on that line, and the ballpoint will dent the paper. Even if the pen doesn't work, like this one doesn't have any ink in it anymore, but it will still dent the paper and make the paper want to fold where I've drawn the line. So if I just start to move it, see, it just wants to fold there. Now, we want to curl this a little bit. You just kind of roll it like this. And that will curl the paper and make it want to curl. This part right here in the center, this is the dorsal spine. And we want that to curl up like this. Now this piece right here, there's a little line that says fold up 90 degrees. This just keeps this from bending. See, without it, it bends, but with it, it doesn't want to. There's a similar thing here that folds under. That's so that we can kind of glue these 2 pieces together later on. It also keeps this from bending. And this whole piece is going to glue together and become some weird shape like this. So it's flat in the back mostly, except for that hump. And it's got this weird shape in the front, and it's flat on the bottom. If you put too much glue, it's going to wrinkle your paper. Now this is some pretty good stuff. This glue in the gold bottle is great stuff because it doesn't wrinkle a whole lot and it stays where you put it. I'm going to line up this edge with that fold so that stripy part's all gone. Make sure there isn't a twist or anything in it. And this is my fuselage. I'm going to set this aside for a little bit because there's a front part that's got to go on next. Here's the nose body. This has a similar weird shape to it. I would suggest, if you're new to making these things, to go and draw lines. With a straight edge it's better, but freehand's okay. Here's the nose body. This folds down, and this little blue line folds up. This little blue line folds up. And this little blue line folds up. It kind of goes from this corner to this corner to make it a little bit easier. And this one goes down, and it's going to make another weird shape like this, and like an arch in the front. To make this easier, we're going to do this. Put a little natural curl into it, and then it'll want to be the shape that we want. And we put some small drops right here. Glue, 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 glue. You want to make sure we're by this edge here. And if we got too much or too little, we can kind of smear it around with the plastic end of the glue bottle. And then we're going to make this edge line up with this folded line here. And I did a bad job. There we go. So it's got this weird shape in the back, and it's got this kind of an arch in the front with flat on the bottom. And this thing is going to stick onto here. So these long stripy tabs are going to go on the inside, and this tab here is going to go right there. And once it's in place, we're going to kind of let that little tab pop out. These big teeth into here. And then we're going to make sure this tab lines up on the bottom. And then we can pop that little tab out, and it goes on the top. We're going to put a little glue in this area. Smear it around, get to the edges. It helps to get a pin or something and push upside so you can push down on this and make sure these glue things are seated right. And this is our fuselage, front and back put together. Next thing we need to do is there's a ventral spine that goes here and adds a little bit of bulk to the bottom. So here's the ventral spine. I suggest drawing a line on these black and yellow lines, because then it will fold right back on those. Now this has a flat area and a rounded area, so we're going to curl this one on the edge of the desk again. There we go, so it's got a curl, and then it's going to fold right on these lines that we scored, and it's going to fold up like this. This appears to have two bottom pieces. They overlap each other. This one's a little bit narrower, so this one goes in, and this edge kind of hangs into the crook of this fold, and it makes it easier to actually give this the right proper shape. If you put it on the ground like this, you make sure you don't get a twist in it. This goes on the bottom of the plane right here. You get some glue, And make sure you put the glue right on the edges here. And now we're ready for the nose cone. So the nose looks like this. It wants to curl up and be a little cone right now. So I'm going to put some glue here. And here's the cone. The top part is this black part with the infrared search and track lens on it. So here's the fuselage with a ventral spine attached, and here's the nose cone. That's going to go right like that. So we'll put some glue on the nose cone. We'll line it up like this. The next thing is the canopy. This is 2 parts. So we're gonna cut both these parts out. Both of these lines fold up. We'll draw a line on here to make it easy. That means they fold up like that, really nice and easy. And then we're going to curl them. So here's the back canopy. And here's the front canopy. The front canopy has this little black area in the front of it. They go kind of like this. You can see the hatch where the hatch would hinge up on the full-size aircraft. This is going to fit right there and right there, so we'll put some glue on them. So we'll glue one side down. We'll give that a minute to dry, and when we do that, we'll put glue on the other side. And notice we put it in, this is not flat with the fuselage, it sticks up a bit. This is the canopy, this is the glass part where the pilot would look out. Next thing we need to do is put our engine trunks on. Those are these parts. We've got a right and a left on them, and the number goes on the outside of the plane to help you remember which one goes where. Draw a line on them. Now with this, we're going to fold it. Drawing on the lines makes it a lot easier. And then we're going to curl it, kind of. We're going to curl just this back area, not this area. That's because these fold part way. So the engine trunk is a rectangle in the front, and it's round in the back. We're going to put some glue on the stripy part. This edge will just kind of tuck in. And here's our engine trunk with no twist on it. And we're going to stick this onto the bottom of the airplane. The edges are more important than the middle. This is the one that goes on the right. So it goes there. See the numbers on the outside of the plane where people can see it. And these seam lines line up. And the back of the engine lines up with the back of the fuselage. And then we're going to go put the other one on. We need to cut a line right here so this little gray part will flap out, and that'll make a hole to slide the wings through. We need to do that over here as well. We can kind of do that with a pair of scissors, but it's very, very difficult. It's much easier to use an X-Acto knife. I don't want to cut the whole thing off because this little piece makes a wonderful tab to put glue on to secure the wing so the wing does not move. I'm going to cut it on this side too. We want to do the wing holes first because there's a bunch of stuff that's going to stick down on top and it'll block this. We need to put the wings in before we put our tail fins in. Here's our wings. We want to be accurate with these. Make sure we cut this little angle out here or it will not fold right. So the wing, this top piece is a little bit bigger than this bottom piece, so it sticks out a little bit. It's done that way on purpose. When you force this edge to match up with this line, it causes it to curve on top. And that makes a true wing shape where as the wind goes over the plane, it will actually create lift and move this up. We want to keep that. We don't want to flatten it out. And one thing we need to do is put something on the inside to make this thing stronger. Right, and this little corner makes it easy to get your thumb in there and start rolling. Once it's about like that, bend it in the middle. Mash it down, and this will actually be pretty stiff. I'm going to put some glue on it. And then we're going to put this right here like that. And keep it flat so that it doesn't get a twist in the wing. Then what we're going to do is put some glue here, and we're going to carefully move this over. We're going to keep it flat on the table because we do not want to get a twist on the wing. If you get a twist on the wing like this, it's not going to fly, and you'll have to print out a new wing. So we're going to make sure this is flat on the table when we push it down. So here's our wing. When using other glues, be careful. You may want to use small dots. You don't want this part of the wing wrinkling up and affecting the flight. This is one of the only times that the stick glue is good because the stick glue won't wrinkle it up at all, and it's just strong enough to hold the wing together. But here we have a good MiG-29 wing. Notice the top is gray and green on the top, and it's a light gray on the bottom, so we don't put it in upside down by mistake. And then we're going to slide this into the plane. If it doesn't quite fit, we may have to cut this open a little bit bigger. Or try it from the other side. Here's our wings. Once they're straight, we're going to sneak some glue underneath here to hold the wing down. And here are our wings attached to the fuselage. At this point, we can actually glue these things down. Next step is our tail fins. We want these guys first. Vertical stabilizer. It's got a star on one side. This goes outwards. Okay, now this piece is a little weird. It folds like that, and then this foot folds out like that, and this foot folds in the same way. It goes like that. This is going to go right there, and right like that. Put some glue here. Put some glue underneath. And you'll notice this has a mounting area for the other fin that goes on. So here's the left fin. This is weird in its own way. We don't fold this one. This one stays straight. So this folds like this, and this tab folds up, and this one stays straight, and it's going to stick right here onto the quarter of the airplane. Small drops are good. That will avoid any wrinkling if the glue tends to do that. It doesn't need to be glued that strong anyway. I'm going to put that guy right there. And that is my horizontal stabilizer. Now we have this fin fillet that goes right here, gives it a little bit extra strength, and it looks like the full-size aircraft. This has just one tab, and this sticks out a little bit more. This overlaps like that. It actually goes down on top, and it should line up with both these seam lines and the edge of the paper with that mounting area. It should line up just like that. And then this little area and then glue in onto itself and onto the vertical stabilizer. Okay, here's our airplane. We need our exhaust nozzles now. I'm using an X-Acto knife now. The trick with the X-Acto knife is you want this out a couple of times, and you want to have this at a low angle. That'll give you a nice smooth cut. If you try to hold it like a pencil, it doesn't work very good. And the most important thing is you have to have something under this, like a cutting board or a piece of plastic or a piece of cardboard you don't care about, because this will destroy anything that's under your paper. We're going to close this every time we set it down. This guy is going to curl around and become a exhaust nozzle. So we're going to put some glue on the stripy part, and we're going to curl this around. Like that. The fatter tab actually goes on the top. Thinner tab goes on the bottom where the seam is. That is because this thing is actually flat on the top and round on the bottom. And so we can get away with a bigger tab on the top. We're going to put some glue on this tab and some glue on the bottom tab. And that goes right there. And this goes right there. Now, optional, I got some weapons I can put under here. This has a lot of lines. There's some blue lines and some yellow lines. All right, so this is going to fold down and up and up. That makes one missile. And this folds down and up and up. So this is two missiles stuck together. A couple of drops in here makes this easier to mount. To line right up with all the lines and things on the bottom of the plane. So we'll put some glue here. Now the last thing this thing needs is the launch hook. The launch hook folds in half, and then these yellow things fold down like that. And then these little feet fold up, and we have a very strong hook here made out of 4 layers of paper. Some glue there, some glue on the inside. And then this is ready to stick onto the bottom of the airplane. Put it right there. Also makes your nose a little bit stronger. So you can take a rubber band, and when it's dry, you can catapult the airplane. To do that though, we need something in the back, because I have to hold this. If I hold it here, I will crush the airplane. If I hold it here, I'm likely to rip one of the poor airplane's tails off. If I hold it here, I'm gonna crush that. So I need to make a little piece of paper that I can hold on to. So here's a little piece of paper. I'm going to put some glue here. And a good place for this is right here on the bottom. And now I have something to hold on to. I can hold on to it like this and pull it back against the rubber band. And when this is dry, I'll show you how that happens. Here's a balanced MiG-29. This does not have a hook, so this is just for throwing. We have 2 paper clips here for balance. And it balances right about there. Maybe right about here is your balance point. Now we're going to throw this thing and see how it works. When you throw it, ideally, you'd want this thing to climb up, and then it slows down and starts to nose back down again. If it comes up sharply like this, then you need a little bit more weight in the nose. So you would cut the tape and move this one further forward, or maybe add a third paper clip. If it just goes down, well, it might be too heavy or there might be a steering problem. So you fly it again upside down. If it still dives towards the floor, well, then you're too heavy. You need to reduce the weight of the nose. But if it goes up like this, well, that's a steering problem. And you want to bend these guys up a little bit. And this will make it steer up. If you flatten them, it'll go straight. If you bend them down, it'll nosedive. If you have one up more than the other, it's going to want to turn. If I straighten this one out and bend this one up more, it's going to turn that way. So we can actually steer these things. In extreme cases, like if it just does not want to turn without spinning, we can actually cut here and here and bend down an aileron, and that will cause it to roll in the opposite direction. We can straighten it out. This one has two paper clips here. This is because the launch hook does add a little bit of weight, and so this paper clip is further back. And this is about where we want it for flying anyway. See, it still balances the same. When we throw it and it flies the way we want, we can grab it here and hook that onto the nose and pull it back and let it fly. And we'll see what it looks like. Now to throw it, we grab it right about here. There's a good spot. And we're going to push in a straight line and let go. That's how you throw an airplane. I'm going to hook it here by the nose and pull it back.